So today I'm going to go into detail about hand position, not necessarily external, internal rotation, more about the distance between the hands, because it's something that I change quite a bit depending on the exercise or the drill or the skill that I'm working towards. Now, what I'd recommend before you start watching this video is just to get 2 markers. Now, for reference, I'm going to stick them on my fingers so I can show you. So 2 markers. I'm going to do a handstand. I'm going to go into my normal handstand position. If I was just going to demo a 2-arm position, I'm going to do a handstand. Okay, and then I'm going to come back down. Now, I'm going to leave those markers. Ow, if I can get them off my fingers. There. So that is my go-to handstand position when I'm just going to do a 2-arm handstand. So that's where I go. That's the distance apart. Now, that's the distance apart that I go. I don't recommend you copy me. I recommend you just check and see what you do. Where do you normally put your hands when you do a handstand? Now, a common question is how far apart should my hands be when I do a handstand? Now, ideally, my normal reply would be have your hands directly underneath your shoulders is a good place to start. Initially, the biggest thing that's going to affect that is your flexibility. So what we want to look at is, what is this position like? Can you get your biceps to your ears? Not only in a seated position, because now I have closed hips, so it's a little bit of a false position. But when I'm standing, when I'm trying to go into a slight posterior tilt, can I still have my biceps by my ears? Now, most people, when they start out with this style of training, they don't look like this. They look a bit like this. So they have their arm that goes this way. Now, for that person that can't put their arms above their head and have their biceps by their ears, they probably need to be a little bit wider with their position. So one way you can tell is if you do a handstand and it looks like this, see how my upper arms are sticking out to the side, my elbows going out? So what I would do with that person is get them to look at this position, draw a straight line down, and that's where they would put their hands. So a little bit wider. So that way they've got a straight arm that stacks correctly. So again, do a handstand, video yourself in your normal position, and look at that upper arm, lower arm position and see if you have a straight line. Now, some of you will find that your elbows hyperextend or you naturally quite flexible through the shoulders and arms. I would recommend that you start to bring your hands in closer together. So again, do that test, video yourself and see how it stacks up when you look back at it. So now I have that position. This is my normal handstand position. Now, what if I change the skill? So let's pick a biggie straight away. So if I'm going to do 1-arm handstands, let's see what happens to my handstand position. I'm now going to use the blue markers and I'm going to put my hands where I normally would if I was going to do 1-arms. So notice what's happened now with the 1-arm handstand. I've brought them closer together. Now, the reason you bring them closer together for a 1-arm handstand is when I'm shifting, I want to shift across and I want to keep this in here like this. I don't want to have a big shift. If my hand's all the way over here and I want to do a 1-arm handstand, now when I have to do it, look at the shift I have to change to try and get on top of this hand. So it's much harder. So we have 1-arm handstands. We have my normal handstand position. Now watch what happens when I do a handstand push-up. So now look what's happened with the handstand push-ups. Now we've got the green markers. So my standard position, handstand push-up, 1-arm handstand. There's quite a difference between them. Now I don't want to cover the internal, external rotation too much here, but with the handstand push-ups, there's some external rotation that happens as well. Same thing if I'm going to go into a handstand to planche, handstand to crow, something like that. I'm probably going to go to a similar position as the handstand push-up position, so the green markers. Now, I'm actually not sure about this one. Let's do a stool to press and see where the hands are. Oh, I should have really warmed up for that. Okay, so stool to press. I'm in line with my normal position, my red position. Press handstand. So starter position and normal press position is in line with the red one. So normal hand position. Green one's handstand push-ups, lower to planche. Blue one's one arm handstand. Now, if I'm going to lower to croc or QDR or something like that, I'm probably going to go around this green position as well, because I need a bit more space. So they're the main handstand positions that I personally use. I don't think you should base yours exactly on mine, but I think what you should do is have a closer position for one arm work, a standard position, and then a more of an externally rotated position and slightly wider position for handstand push-up work. Now, some people will train super close positions, so even hands together like this, touching or either overlapping. Or super wide positions. I can't go that wide. I think this is like a Japanese handstand. They do it in gymnastics. But it's definitely not something that I would spend lots of time on. I would focus on these ones, especially if you're working towards specific skills. So let me know in the comments if you guys do similar things with your hands when you're training different skills. Do you have different hand positions? And also what happened when you assessed yourself? How does your arms relate in terms of that straight arm position to your overhead position to that flexibility? Be really interesting to know. Normal deal, thumbs up and subscribe will be appreciated, and I'll speak to you next time. Let me know in the comments if there's any specific videos or anything you want me to do. Speak to you soon.